the equation, m sub 1 times m sub 2, these are two masses. So basically what it's saying is the relationship between one object and another object and its distance between two. Like, so basically this spoon to this glass, there's a pull of gravity between the two. There's also a pull of gravity between the spoon and the table or earth or whatever. So each distance between each object, there is a force there. Electricity and magnetism. Now the copper pipe is a conductor of electricity, and the magnet is a magnet, you know what I'm saying? So it has a conduction of magnetism. And when you put magnetism and electricity together, you get gravity defying attributes. So we know that electricity and magnetism have to do directly. It directly corresponds on what gravity is, and we have to remember this. Gravity is part of the fabric of what the universe is made out of. We have to keep this in mind, especially when we're talking about things that conduct electricity. Melanin being one of them, copper being another. These are another examples of things that are prevalent in some human species or some of the original human species. Let's take a look at some more examples of what gravity is. All right. Okay. So here we are. Let's not look at this as a sink. Let's look at this as existence itself. Everything in existence, okay? And let's not look at this as water. All right? Let's not do that. All right. We're going to, instead of this being water, this is going to represent time and space. The stuff you look at night, time and space. All right? With this plum, what these plums are going to represent are planets. You pick whatever planet. So basically, I'm going to show you the correlation of time and space being the fourth dimension, and then I'm going to show you how gravity intertwines as a dimension inside or outside, or just, intertwined is the better word, with the fourth dimension as it being space. Now, let's just say this is a planetary body or a god, because this is why the name of the video is Gravity and Gods. That's a plum. That represents whatever you want it to represent. Jupiter, whatever, right? All right, let's just say this Brillo pad represents Earth, okay? This crouton, that's Venus, and this honey bunches of oats, whatever that is, that's whatever, and then there's some other stuff going on. All right? Now, just like in the equation, m1 by m2, that means the mass of object 1 by the mass of object 2, there's also a force of gravity between the two. You see what I'm saying? Now, that means that wherever object 1 and 2 is or are in space, there's a gravitational force between them. All right? There's a gravitational force between this object and Venus. Okay? And so on and so forth. But they all have gravitational influences on each other in space. But the reason why they're called the gods is because of their positioning inside of space and their influence of gravity. Anytime you have a force that is beyond your control, usually this is what they call a god. They deify this term God and make it a man or make it some type of person or thing that you could look at, but really it's a force. Like gravity is a force, so gravity is a god or many gods inside of gravity. The wind, things like that, you know what I'm saying? Electricity, magnetism, all of these are gods, so to speak. So this is getting out of your storybook, religion type text stories of gods. This is really what they're talking about. Jupiter will have an influence on Earth depending on the distance between the two. Now remember, this is the fourth dimension. This is space. And if you zoom in, I'm gonna try to zoom in, you can see how space works. There's all different levels. Now there's crap down here, there's stuff up here, there's stuff over there. That's how space actually works. All that stuff is moving towards the black hole, which is creating a force. Stars have, or planets, Saturn, or whatever you want to call this, Saturn, planets, stars, they have elements inside them like iron, nickel, copper, whatever. These metals hold different, how would you say, like weight, I guess, or whatever. So basically, if you're undraining your bathtub, the rubber ducky would move at a certain pace and the towel would move at a certain pace because they're made up of different things. Same thing as for stars and planets. But all of these forces is what creates this dimension called gravity. So the pull of a black hole, stars, planets, all of these have something to do with that the dimension that becomes what gravity is. But it's also funny that these stars have the same elements that are inside of you. With this iron, copper, nickel, all that shit is inside of you. We're made of stardust, right?
Stardust, yep.
So that's why this freeway that we call gravity, this is the freeway that we call gravity because it's a dimension, has an effect on us differently than water or mountains or whatever, right?
You think it's having a different effect and not the same effect on us?
It's having a different effect.
How would it have a different effect if we are of the elements that are all around us as well?
Because we're a combination.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Walking water.
Yeah. But what's most important about our elements is we have the element of ether. That fifth element, that element of spirit. That's the fifth element. So that's what makes us different from a mountain. You know what I mean?
Do you think there lies the magnetism? Because like when you go from being alive to being dead, or at least your body, do you think that's where that magnetism or that, I don't know, that something, that's, because does your body project all this magnetism when you're dead? Like, I don't think so, right? Because you're cold. Maybe I'm conflating magnetism with something.
Yeah, we're going to get to that something right now. My point of saying all that is what controls all this is whatever moves space, whatever moves time. What was that be? That will be a black hole. Once this black hole gets to putting shit in motion, you'll start to see everybody getting in line. Everything is moving. That's what controls time. So you see what I'm saying? It controls and it's over time. So it pulls all the planets, the sun, everything is being pulled and it's in motion because of a quote unquote what they call a black hole, which is nothing but the cosmic pussy, the cosmic vagina. And as you can see, as through all the levels of dimensions, there are what do you call it? They're the patterns that repeat themselves. I'm drawing a blank right now. But yeah, because on the third dimension, there's a black hole called a Boson. It's the same hole. The same, that's what I'm saying. And that's another reason why you can't completely separate the dimensions and say that one is over the other, because they overlap and intertwine. And at the points where they overlap and intertwine is where you find divinity. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm playing. So, planets are little gods because the mass of the planets have effect on gravitational pulls of objects around it. Saturn, Jupiter, these giant planets